Let's bring in my partner in crime, the one and only Matt Bonner, the Red Rocket, the Red Mamba. And Matt, let's start with the good, and we start with Rudy Gay. Another fantastic performance from him, 17 points, 7 rebounds. Look what he's been able to do in the last 6 games, averaging 16 points. He's been effective on both ends of the floor and shooting very well out there. The grizzled veteran just keeps getting it done, and this is his second game of a back-to-back, Matt.
Yeah, he's a professional bucket getter, and we needed him offensively tonight. Yes, we only ended up with 99 points. Not our best, obviously, offensive performance, but it could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for guys like Rudy Gay. Came out tonight super aggressive, scored all over the court, hit 3 3-pointers, and then defensively, 2 block shots, 2 steals. Great all-around game for Rudy Gay.
Now the bad, and you have to go to the points in the paint. This was a season high for the Utah Jazz tonight with 66 points. They outscored us by 20 points in the paint. That will definitely be something the Spurs have to fix on Wednesday night.
Yeah, definitely. And look, this isn't, let's just go post it up like we got Shaq and we're going to pound it in the paint. They were doing it off the pick and roll, hitting the roll guy. Guards were blowing right by us for layups. There was no weak side, and then they killed us on the break, 14-4 and fast break points, getting layups that way as well. Offensive rebounds, 14-8. Second chance points, 16-8. A lot of easy baskets in the paint coming in all different types of ways. You drive to the basket, someone helps off the big, and that last clip, it was Gobert. All right, now you got to help the helpers. How often do we talk about this? Someone's got to get into Gobert's legs so he doesn't get an uncontested lob. Had a lot of easy lobs tonight as well. Just a poor performance defending the paint for the Spurs tonight.
Yeah, and it really is tough when you think about they're the best three-point shooting team, and they're also the best at defending the three, and it was difficult in the first half. But one guy who's always been a problem for the Spurs, and especially this year, is Bogdanovich. Look what he's been able to do in the 2 wins over the San Antonio Spurs this year. Why is Boyan such a difficult cover for the Spurs?
You know what? Everybody has like teams they just play really well against and shoot really well against. I mean, obviously he's a really good player, but against us, the 2 times we played him this year, he's just had his way offensively. And look, you look at the points in the paint. Would you rather have him shooting threes or driving to the basket? Driving to the basket, right? So yeah, great, we get him off the 3-point line, but now we got to recover. We got to keep harassing him as he drives the basketball. Weak side's got to be there. There's a reason this team has the best record in the NBA. Even with Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley sitting, these guys just know how to play. They're very well coached by Quinn Snyder. They're a well-oiled machine. They have a nucleus of guys who have been together for years and have great chemistry, know where each teammate's going to be on the court. And when they like to get it, what all their strengths and weaknesses are. They're peaking at the right time coming down the home stretch of this season, and no one's really talking about the Jazz, I feel like. I mean, we're all talking about, who's going to come out of the West, and you don't hear the Jazz mentioned too often. I know if you're a Spurs fan, the 2 times we've seen them, we're definitely thinking about like, wow, this team has a chance.
Yeah, and they've really been the best team in the NBA all year. You've talked so much about how there is no home court advantage. There is for these guys in Salt Lake City. Now 28-4 on the home floor. Let's take a timeout on Spurs Live, presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. When we come back, we'll hear from Coach Pop after this disappointment, but we head to the break with the sights and sounds of a great Rudy Gay. 6 points in the paint. Let's hear from Coach Pop.
Pop, what did you see from your guys tonight?
Poor first half, really good second half. And, we've kind of had that personality, for a lot of the year. If we just follow teams around and don't get physical and don't get up into them, we go down. And then once we do, we realize it, and we play like we did in the second half, both movement at the offensive end and physicality at the defensive end. So they did a great job in the second half, really good. A whole lot of people did a great job. But in the first half, we were basically soft.
Oh,
And
this,
they happen
this,
to be the best team in the West. So, arguably, you
right.
got to play for 48 minutes.
And against this Utah team in particular, do you have to make more than 4 threes to kind of stay with them?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. That's why they do that. They limit everybody to their threes. They stay pretty locked up. So you've got to do some different things, which we did in the second half, and that worked out pretty well.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jeff. Tom Orborn.
Pop, are these 2-game series good preparation for the young guys for, a playoff setting?
Well, for the young guys, any game is good. They just need minutes. They need to know what the NBA is, what it takes execution-wise and competitiveness-wise to win. So any game is good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Matt, you're not looking for excuses, but this is game 2 of a back-to-back. And granted, they had a few stars out. They've been the best team in the NBA at home and really been the best team overall. But is it encouraging to know that this Spurs team played better in the second half and really kind of played with Utah there? Can they bring that into that next game on Wednesday against Utah?
Yeah, I mean, they beat them in the second half because they brought that energy, that physicality. You heard Coach Pop talk about it. That was my thing in the pregame on the whiteboard. It was defend the three-point line, which I thought they did a pretty good job of, and then have that sense of urgency for 48 minutes, not just for the second half, not just when you're sitting key starters, so you feel like you got to pick up the slack, and that gets you into the game. You need to do it from the start on a nightly basis. Make that part of your identity. That's this team's like superpower. It can be part of their identity. That's what allows them to be successful and win on a night in, night out basis. When they don't do that, that's when they struggle. We saw it in the first half tonight. We've seen it in the past. You look at some of the tough losses, they just didn't bring that special sauce, that secret ingredient. And when they do, things are great. And that's what we saw tonight.
Well, a couple of guys that have been bringing that special sauce and getting an opportunity. Devin Vassell, who's been in the starting lineup since Derek White went down, and Gorgui Dieng, who is out of the rotation, but he is really working himself into the rotation. The two of these guys combining for 20 points tonight. That is a great sign going forward for this team.
Yeah, these guys have stepped in. We talked about being professional. Both of them out of the lineup until recently, or not out of the lineup, out of the rotation. And then Devin steps in for Derek. It's been pretty solid. I thought he had a really good game tonight. And Gorgui, I mean, my goodness, last game just busted onto the scene, kept it going tonight. And I love his physicality. He's active. He doesn't back down. He's not afraid to mix it up in the paint. He knocks down the three, can stretch the defense, especially when you have a shot blocker for the other team's center. And another great, not great, but solid performance for both those guys.
Yeah, like what Gorgui did against the Stifle Tower there. Nice little fade back, and got a little heated with Ingles. We'll see if that carries on to Wednesday.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the special sauce. You got to bring it. 48 minutes, though, Rick.
48 minutes.
You
say it all the time, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, we always, when they lose close games like this, they always come back in the second half, and it's like, they never quit. They keep fighting. Yes, let's just start that on tip-off instead of waiting till down the stretch or in the second half or whatever. If we can just do that, we could, we'll pound everybody.
You need to send a text to Patty Mills. 48 minutes. 48 minutes. Tell everybody.
It's easier said than done, unfortunately.
Let's take a time out here on Valley Sports as we continue the Spurs Live postgame presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Coming up next, a look ahead, a look around the league. Mark